This is the new 2025 Ram 1500 RHO. It is the full-size off-road sport truck that everybody's talking about. In this video, we're going to check out all the features, take it for a drive, and then we're going to put it to the test. That's coming up right now on Driving Sports TV. This episode of Driving Sports TV is brought to you by OnX Offroad. Click the link below to save 20% off your new membership using the code DSTV. The full-size off-road sport truck segment already has some solid competition between the Ford F-150 Raptor and Chevy's Silverado ZR2 Bison. For 2025, there's a new kid in town and it wants to come out and play. This is the 2025 Ram 1500 RHO. More than just a looks package, the RHO features a long list of off-road focused hardware, including recovery points, advanced suspension, extensive underbody protection, all-terrain tires, and even a rear locker. Under the hood is a Hurricane 3-liter high-output straight six with twin turbos. It's rated at 540 peak horsepower and 521 pound-feet of torque. The standard transmission is an 8-speed automatic with a dual-range transfer case and an auto all-wheel drive setting. Ram claims that this can do 0 to 60 in only 4.6 seconds. That puts it squarely between the Ford F-150 Raptor and the Ford F-150 Raptor R, which is very impressive. The EPA rates economy at 14 miles to the gallon in town and 16 on the highway, although nobody is buying this for the fuel economy. Now, base price of the RHO starts at just under $70,000. As you see it here with the bed utility group, level 1 equipment, which adds massaging and ventilated seats, a tonneau cover, panorama sunroof, exterior stickers, and off-road sport running boards, $87,507 US, including destination. The standard tires are 35-inch Goodyear Wrangler Territory all-terrains, wrapped around 18-inch wheels in a 325/65 R18 fitment. In the back, rear coil springs provide up to 14 inches of travel. All four corners have Bilstein Blackhawk E2 shocks with remote reservoirs and 3-stage jounce control. The back axle is a Dana 60 full floater. A tow hitch and all necessary wiring is included. Tow capacity on this is 8,380 pounds. The stickered weight limit in the door is 1,259 pounds. There is a powered gate for access to the 5'7" bed. Inside it has bed liner, rails, power, and lighting. All the stuff you would expect at this price point. It even has a step that you can pull out for easier access. The second row provides ample room for secured storage. Fold the seats down for miles of legroom. Passengers get heated and cooled seats, vents, and power. Fold down the center seat for an armrest, beverage holder, and even more storage. Oh boy, climbing up. Okay. Up front here is probably the nicest interior you will find in a truck. The centerpiece is this 14.5-inch vertical display, which includes access to maps and music in addition to specialty race, off-road, and drive mode pages. Of course, it also works with Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. And that brings me to the sponsor of this video, OnX Offroad. We love OnX Offroad for planning our off-road adventures. Which trails to drive? How hard are they? Are they even open? OnX Offroad provides all that information in addition to tools to help plan and organize your next adventure. Have you watched one of our mini road trip videos? We use OnX Offroad to plan and navigate every adventure. And right now you can get 20% off your premium or elite membership to OnX Offroad with the code DSTV. That's of course an abbreviation for Driving Sports TV. Look for the link in the video description below or click this QR code. In addition to USB-C, USB-A, and an HDMI port, you also get wireless charging down here in a nice vertical format. And you can charge 2 devices. The sound is courtesy of Harman Kardon, and there are speakers everywhere in this cabin. There, and there. And I'm sure there's others that I'm just not seeing right now. All the materials in this are excellent. I love the steering wheel. The leather, the stitching, the feel of it, it's just excellent. And they did maintain the Chrysler stereo controls on the back by giving these kind of wing paddle shifters that are metallic and they feel great. The seat, very supportive, comfortable. It is leather, it is heated, cooled, and it even has massage units, which is amazing. Let's go ahead and turn those on. Oh yeah, we get lots of options and pressure settings. Cool. I think it's going to be a good day today. At the very least, I'm going to get a good massage. Of course, being 2025, this does come loaded with lots of active safety tech. You get collision mitigation, you get large mirrors with blind spot warning, you do get a digital rear view mirror here so you can see through any loads. And what else do we have? Oh yeah, we got a surround view camera system. It is kind of funny, the surround view camera system, even though we have this really large vertical display, it only uses a small part of it. And I've had that problem with other manufacturers as well. If you have a big screen, use it for cameras, please. Here, small. Now, while we're talking about this screen, let's talk about climate. We do get a lot of different options down at the bottom here. If I hit comfort, it will pull up eventually. There we go, the climate screen, and I can kind of adjust where the wind blows, whether my heated and ventilated seats are on, steering wheel heat, but they also give you physical buttons on the side. Here's my take. If you're going to include physical buttons, just give me all the physical buttons. I mean, we're like 2 buttons away here, guys, from having full control of the AC and not needing to go into the screen. But they still make us go into the screen for a few of the different options. Oh well. Passengers over here do get their own little screen, and it is polarized in a way that I cannot see it from the driver's seat. But I'll tell you what they have access to is the onboard cameras, which is interesting. And they can also set up navigation and then send their suggestions to the main console for the driver to accept or deny. Personally, I think that setup is a bit of a gimmick, especially if you're going to watch video on it. You do have the HDMI port down here to send video to that screen. But I mean, honestly, at that point, just use an iPad or an iPhone. That is not an advantage. And good news for short people, you can actually adjust the pedal box location with some buttons down here. Cool. Of course, we also get a heads-up display and a digital gauge cluster. You can change the gauge cluster to have multiple different views, and you can pick your drive modes with push buttons right down here. I can either toggle through the drive modes up here, and that will change the 4-wheel drive as well as traction control settings, and it also tunes the suspension for the conditions, which is important. Over here, I can actually dive a little bit deeper by hitting the RHO drive mode button, and that brings up the big screen that really dives into what we're doing with all of these different settings. Sport, tow, snow, auto, mud, sand, rock, Baja, you name it, we can change it here. For right now, we're going to drive this on the street, and then we're going to bring it back here to our Peninsula Proving Grounds. But where typically we would be doing a lot of the off-road courses here, instead with this one, I want to test out some of the high-speed capabilities, because we have a whole separate video with this truck over at our mountain test course. So here, we're going to test out its ability to slide and jump, and also see how the suspension acts and reacts to all of that excitement. Right, well first we're going to start out on the street, so let's do it. I'll barely make the turn there. This is a big boy. I know I say that, but it's just like, this is huge. And it's mostly because it's not just a big wide truck, but it's also lifted an extra 2 inches over a standard Ram 1500. So it just feels really tall and big from behind the wheel here. Street. Come on, you got this. You. Oh, the sounds. This thing sounds amazing. Right, well, it's not just sound for sound's sake. This thing should be properly quick. And to test it, we're gonna go do a 0 to 60. For the 0 to 60, I'm gonna go ahead and switch the drive mode into sport, which should make everything as exciting as possible. And then we also actually have a launch button down here. So once I get stopped, I'll hit that. We'll then hold brake and hold gas, and then release. That'll get the turbos all wound up and get the transmission into its quickest shifting modes. So stop completely, hit the launch button, brake in, gas in, release brake, 3, 2, 1, go. Good. Ah! Oh, that was 0 to 60 in 4.85 seconds. So quick, it knocked the glasses off my head. Where did those go? I guess they live back there now. Okay, continuing on. So the transmission on this vehicle uses what's called the Borg-Warner active transfer case. It has not just a high and a low setting, it can also vary torque to the rear wheels, and it'll do that depending on your drive mode. If we were in rock mode, it would then suggest that we need to go into 4 low and also split torque 50-50. If we're in snow mode, it would split torque, I think it's 45-55. And then Baja mode will put up to 75% of available torque to the rear wheels, which we're going to play with that in a little bit. It's out here on the farming highways where this truck really fits in. If I lived in the city, this is not the one I would want for daily driving. It's a truck that's hard to park, hard to maneuver in tight spaces, and basically just doesn't fit anywhere in modern society. However, where I live, out here in the country, it's fantastic. I think the biggest issue is keeping within the speed limit, because this thing, it just wants to go. At this point, let's go ahead and put this into sport mode. That'll keep the revs higher. It'll also turn on the paddle shifters and also stiffen up that suspension. Let's see how fast this gearbox switches. I love the fart noises. I mean, I got to admit, the 12-year-old me is very excited to be driving this truck. This truck does deliver the same fun experience on the road as you get with an F-150 Raptor. It basically turns any adult into a 12-year-old again. It's just so good. I couldn't own one of these. I would lose my driver's license like immediately. Now, in terms of fuel economy, you don't buy this truck for that. But on the upside, it does have a 33-gallon tank, so you're going to get about 400 miles plus, even though it does kind of get around 15 miles to the gallon if you're driving it normal. If you're driving it like I'm doing it today, yeah, you're gonna probably do 12. Okay, now that we've got painted stripes on the road, let's go ahead and test out the adaptive cruise control. Hit a button here, it says adaptive cruise ready, hit set, and we are off to the races. Now in this mode, it will just lane center and keep the distance between me and the vehicle in front of me. How well will it center? Yeah, kind of a little veering, little here, a little there. Now, if I wanted to, I could hit the hands-free autopilot. Interesting. So the hands-free autopilot button, if you're in standard adaptive cruise and you have it turned on and then you hit the hands-free button, it basically turns on a more absolute lane tracing, which is what we're doing now. That's actually much better. And of course, this also does have a hands-free cruise control system at highway speeds on geo-fenced highways. And overall, I wasn't very impressed with it. It definitely seemed to wander a lot in the lane, and frankly, on a hands-free system, when going 70 miles per hour on a highway with multiple lanes, I want a little bit more confidence in my system. So I'm not going to say that I would never use it, but I'd say I'd use it very, very rarely. However, the standard distance cruise control worked just fine. The adaptive cruise control was great. And I'm not against that technology in general. I just felt like this one needs a little bit more development to have a little bit more confidence in the way that it not only approaches the lane centering, but also specifically how well it centers into corners. Very touchy. Yeah, and as for like changing drive modes, the toggle here, which uses the gauge cluster to toggle through the drive modes, is the worst way to do it. Do not even use that. Just hit the RHO button here and you'll get a nice drive mode screen where you can actually go through and just directly pick what you want. So much better. Okay, so driving this on the road, obviously it's very nice. You got tons of room in the front seat. You have basically a studio apartment in the second row. There's a ton of space back there. And you can, of course, flip up that second row for even more cavernous use of the area. So now we're going to take this back to our Peninsula Proving Grounds where we're going to have some real fun with it. Let's go ahead and start this party. I'm going to switch the drive mode into Baja. That'll put the transmission into Baja mode, paddle shifters on, stability control, very slippy. Suspension into Baja mode, which is going to give us that softest feeling, and then of steering is going to be sport, so it'll be a little bit more precise. And of course, it's also going to shift up to 75% of torque to the back wheels to give us that power rotation that I think will be really fun. So let's hit it. Oh, wow. Very slippy. Oh, this is awesome. And then we have a really harsh bump. Hold up. Oh, it was smooth. I was waiting for the impact. That didn't happen because the suspension just smoothed it out. Fantastic. And it's such a big truck. To be able to do this stuff is just kind of amazing. So, like, what do the shocks do on this thing? Well, they have a 3-stage jounce control. What that does is it helps when you're bottoming out your shock, it actually kind of cushions that. So instead of going hard, it kind of gives a little bit, which is kind of what you want, because sometimes, you know, you make mistakes, you misread the terrain, and you might hit something a little faster than you want. These shocks will kind of protect you from that to a certain degree, obviously. They're not going to do anything if your wheels are pointing the wrong way to heaven. Also, you have like 13 inches of travel in the front, 14 inches of travel in the back. You have that power on oversteer that is just so much fun. And it also will detect free hang in the suspension, so it knows when you're jumping, and it'll prepare the shocks for the landing, in addition to offering that jounce control. It really is an amazing setup. I'm going to do it again. Woohoo! Now, with a truck this big and this powerful, you gotta be careful, because it's really easy to push this over the edge and to make a big mistake. The bigger the truck, the bigger the mistakes, potentially. And the bigger the crash. And the faster the crash. Oh, grab a machine gun, baby! Woohoo! Oh! Power on! I am so messing up my roads. So, you know, the RAM RHO, this is an amazing truck. Now, is it good for, you know, complicated, tight trails? Obviously not. We took it to our mountain test course. It did good, but obviously long wheelbase, big truck, that's going to cause its own issues. That said, if you want to have fun with the truck and you have big open spaces available to you, man, the RAM RHO is awesome. Now, it's hard for me to say if this is better than a Raptor, because this type of a truck is not, it's not a checklist type truck. This isn't the type of truck where you're like, well, it has this feature, so therefore QED is better than Ford F-150 Raptor. These are more emotional trucks. How do you connect with the truck? Both of them can throttle oversteer. Both of them can take jumps. What it really comes down to is, do you like this interior? Does the truck fit you in a way that you feel comfortable with it? And when you're sliding with it, how good is that driver-machine connection? Every truck is just going to fit different. And I would say that both this and the F-150 Raptor are just amazing pieces of machinery, and both are worthy of all the praise that they get. So yeah, I'm going to end this right here. For Driving Sports TV, I'm Ryan Douthat. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, share videos. We make them for you. I hope you enjoy them. I had a heck of a good time with this thing, and it'll be sad to hand it back. Oh, and if you haven't watched it yet, go watch our mountain test course video where we take this up the Anaconda, which is our most challenging trail.